In today's gospel reading, our Lord wants to make us understand two very important principles. And one of those principles is that evil begets evil. So very often when someone harms us or hurts us in some way, our tendency is to want to hurt that person back. When we do that, the other person wants to get back at us. And this is also why that saying an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth was present. It wasn't so much that it was allowed to do that, but it was saying that the measure that you receive will be the measure you give, even when it comes to evil. So if somebody knocks out one of your teeth, you have a right to knock out one of their teeth. But the problem is, in the process, you might knock out two of their teeth. And so evil tends to beget evil. And it's important that we realize this. And just because somebody is doing evil at us, it doesn't mean we have an evil or a right to do evil back towards them. Two wrongs don't make a right. But this is the tendency of many people. So when someone offends us, we feel we have a right to be angry and to take vengeance, but we need to overcome that anger. And basically our Lord is saying, be willing to accept a certain amount of evil done against you. So evil begets evil, but try to not perpetuate evil by doing evil. Therefore, we have to be willing to suffer some of the evils that others inflict upon us. Now, notice how he goes on to say, if somebody strikes you on the right cheek, turn the other. If somebody takes your coat, give him your cloak as well. If somebody forces you to go 1 mile, go a 2nd mile. In other words, be willing to give, be generous. And this generosity ought to flow from real and genuine love. So this is the other principle. It's better to give than to receive. And this is actually reiterated in today's first reading from the first book of Kings. So here we have King Ahab. He's in a position of authority, so he could kind of do whatever he wants. And here's Naboth, who has this vineyard, and Ahab wants the vineyard. But Naboth is not willing to sell his vineyard or to part with it because it's his ancestral heritage. And notice what happens when this request of Ahab is rejected by Naboth. He becomes depressed. And not only does he become depressed, but he won't even eat. He lays down and he turns away. In other words, he's not even communicative. He's just down. So this is what tends to happen when we don't get what we want. So here's Ahab, who's, instead of the attitude of giving, he wants to take. He wants to receive for himself. And it's very important that we note that sometimes children who are, not sometimes, but usually when children who are spoiled, they become individuals like Naboth. So what do spoiled children do when they don't get what they want? Well, you know, in a store, for example, the child wants some toy, the parent to buy some toy, and if the parent doesn't buy it, the child will throw a temper tantrum, cause a scene, and the parent will say, okay, I'll give you what you want. And basically, it's very bad for a parent to do that because it's undermining their own authority. It's teaching the child that they can manipulate the parent to get what they want. But the other problem, the main problem, is that these children, because they learn to get what they want and because they learn not to respect their parents, they believe that their happiness consists in getting what they want. And sometimes when they don't get what they want, instead of throwing a temper tantrum in public, in private, they will mope. They will become depressed. They will refuse to eat. They will be incommunicative. They'll just be so sad until mommy or daddy gives them what they want. And then all of a sudden they're happy. So this is what spoiled children tend to do. And as a result, these spoiled children end up growing up believing that their happiness consists in getting what they want. And if they can't get it, they will often resort even to violence or to commit crimes in order to get it. And they have little respect or no respect for others because they view others as simply people to manipulate and use in the same way that they have manipulated and used their parents. Children are very clever. So children can figure these things out. And this is why it's so important for parents to be consistent, right? If a parent says, no, I'm not going to buy you that toy, well, don't give in, no matter what kind of temper tantrum your child might manifest. So very, very important principle. And even if they're depressed because they don't get what they want, well, they have to learn that they can't always have everything that they want. This is the reality for all of us. Now, here's another unfortunate reality that I want to draw your attention to. And this very unfortunate reality is that all of us, to a certain extent, suffer this spoiled child syndrome. In other words, we all like to get what we want. We all like to have things our way. And when things don't go our way, we all get upset. And sometimes we all become a little bit depressed. Maybe not to the extent of a spoiled child, but to a certain extent, we are all like that. We want to be in control. And we need to let go of that. And part of that is our humility and the realization that we are not in control. So whatever happens, God allows to happen. And whatever happens is to our benefit, provided that we have the right attitude. And so it's important that we understand this. So if somebody hurts us or offends us, right, getting back to the gospel reading, well, our tendency is to get angry because things didn't work out the way we wanted. We're not receiving the respect that we want. And so we become depressed. We become angry. We mope. We become incommunicative. We might even, stop eating because we're so angry or whatever. So this is a wrong attitude. So, greed, right? So, or envy, right? It leads to sometimes not just depression of the person who's envious, but a hatred for the one that they are envious of, because that person has the goods that we want. And sometimes that hatred can become so intense that it will lead to murder. Now, in this case, it's Jezreel, right? The wife of Ahab, who ends up killing Naboth, right? It's not Ahab who kills him, but very often people who are in positions of authority, it's Jezebel, his wife Jezebel. Yeah, there's that name Jezebel is a popular kind of accusatory name. You're a Jezebel, right? You're so wicked, you're so evil, you're so manipulative, just like a Jezebel, right? Just like this Jezebel. So something for us to definitely think about. So we have to accept things the way they are. There's many things that we cannot change. Some people may have offended us or, harmed us in one way or another or deprived us of some good. Don't be angry. Two wrongs don't make a right. Use that situation to be generous. Give. Return good for evil. Turn the other cheek. Yes, it's very hard to do. Now, is our Lord saying that we should just put up with all kinds of abuse? He's not saying that. But he's saying there's many injustices that we cannot change. And instead of being angry, instead of being resentful, well, just turn the other cheek. Instead of seeking, instead of wanting, just give. Let go. Let it go. Leave it to God and, try to have the best possible attitude that you can, because it is only in this way that we can have peace and be content and be happy even here and now.